I saw that.
Okay, you guys are live.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Athens-Clarke County Board of Elections Voter Registration Meeting. This is a special call meeting for the purpose of certifying the election. Date is November 13, time is 4:36 p.m. We are at 2555 Lexington Road, Athens, Georgia. First item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Tills, second, Ms. Fambro. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Any member of the public wishing to make comment? Okay. Appears as though there are none. Moving on. Next item on the agenda is the certification of the special election that was held on November 7th. And the first item is approval, rejection of provisional ballots. The chair recognizes the director.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And I'm going to allow Pam. Oh, you know, you said that they're funny. Pam, okay, just a minute. Let me grab the report. We received or had 8 voters who cast ballots at the polling locations, provisional. And we have a recommendation of 5 to be approved. The 5 that we're asking for approval are 2 who voted provisional out of precinct, but they submitted the provisional ballot affidavits that allows, that if an elector has presented themselves to a polling location in the municipality or the county in which he or she's registered to vote, any votes cast by provisional ballot in the wrong precinct will be counted unless it's cast after 5 p.m. So they cast after 5 p.m. And before the time of closing of the polls on the day of the election. So we're asking for your approval for those 2 particular ballots. And then there are 3 others who believe that they had registered timely enough to vote. Their names did not appear on the electors list, but we were able to locate them on the electors list, whether they were in a different precinct or not. We were able to identify those voters. The other 3, 1 or actually 2, believe that they had registered timely enough, but we could not find their names on the voter list. And we researched heavily on those researching. And then we had 1 that voted out of precinct, but was found to be registered to vote in Oglethorpe County. So 8 provisional ballots requesting or recommending that 5 be accepted for the reasons that I mentioned and 3 being rejected. If you have any questions on any of those,
Do you have the little report usually?
I sure do. You're good way. And only 2 of those ballots need to be duplicated from what the original precinct that they voted at versus the precinct they're assigned to. So that those votes will go into their particular precinct. And of course, the vote review panel here is to duplicate those ballots. It's just 2 of them. Only.
Just giving those to a moment to review. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the report, the provisional ballot report as presented. Still one. Would you like to second?
Oh, I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Report is approved. Would you like us to sign
Yes, please.
this particular copy? Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is the unofficial election summary.
So you received via email the list or the documents of the unofficial and incomplete results. And to add to those results, I'm requesting that, I'm making a recommendation. I'm gonna allow Audra to give you that update on the absentee ballot. That's okay.
October.
Yes, and the two that, we have two that's gonna be added, is that correct?
Yes. Adding 2 more ballots today, and one of those was a cure that made it back in the mail today. I just sent Nate a text, and if the miracle happens and in 20 minutes, the other 2 walk in by 5 p.m., those will be added. So we had a total of 4 cures, and 2 were sent back. Yes. And, last Tuesday afternoon, speaking with our liaison, Amanda, we had 1 ballot that had, because the person in Bogart, Georgia, the ballot had ended up in Bogart at the post office there. And Pam then contacted them. They got us, and so we were able to give that voter credit. Thank God, Amanda, in conversation, it came up. And, it had actually, I don't know why they had not contacted us, but it had actually been there since that Friday before that, which was the 30th. But in all, county is 189, accepted ballots, and that includes the 2 cures, and I've already processed those.
So the 189 was included in Tuesday night's
No.
results.
When we add these,
Uh-huh.
it will be the 189.
So we're at 187 now?
We're at 189 we're at 187, and when I add those, actually, we're at 186 because we have 3 that we need to scan in. Because we had 1 that came in late Tuesday night, and we were able to process it, but we didn't scan it because it was just that 1 and we waited to scan it.
Okay. The other question I have is, there was a discussion on Tuesday about, we had transported a team of 2 of our people, met a team from the Secretary of State. Did we receive any additional?
No, and I reached out to them today to see if we received any more, and I have not been
They
able
did
to
not.
reach anyone, and no one has returned the phone call.
Okay. No one returned. So we have not had confirmation.
Not since Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we get Blake on the phone or someone to confirm?
We've tried. Email and phone,
Would they take a vacation?
not sure. Must be
And I
teleworkers.
got my phone here with me, been waiting for
Yeah,
a call back.
Yeah, right. I believe that you did it, of course.
Oh, that goes to,
So we've sent text messages to Blake, to Jesse Harris, to all these people.
yes. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say that if we didn't get a call from them, then it's very likely that they didn't receive any, or they were received after the deadline. Because of how they contacted us previously, they wanted us to be sure that we had those ballots in our unofficial results. So
And that was how many?
35,
30 some? Yeah.
30 to 35.
It was 31, I remember on their sheet. I think on the sheet, Nate, on had when he had this, that was when he said 31, but I don't have the paper in front of me, it's at the office.
Sure.
I think it was 31.
Yeah, I don't know how my colleagues feel, but it makes me feel uneasy that they don't return our calls when it's their job to support us until this election is certified and wrapped up.
And I must piggyback on what Director Sosby said. Last week, our liaison was constantly calling me, like one day we had 8 calls. Be updated as if some more came there or, but I don't know what today. So she sent emails, I've made phone calls and I've left voicemail. And I think Pam called someone also.
Well, I'm not concerned about not hearing from them for this one because of the numbers. But hopefully after all this is over, can find out in case we have a similar issue next time, how can we get hold of someone? Yeah, I'm sure you'll be doing that. One quick
Yeah.
question, maybe I misheard you. Did you say there were 2 that we are not accepting because they were stamped later or something?
No. I was saying I was waiting on 2
Is
more.
that the SOS office?
No,
They're on the line.
that's her husband.
Well,
I have a question.
We don't have to know.
hold on. We done?
Well, just that, yeah, I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
there weren't anything we.
No, no.
Okay, good.
All right, Chair recognizes Ms. Till.
No, that goes to Chairman Raffle.
Oh,
Yes.
Director, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Anyone that can answer it. These people that you've mentioned, are these the only contacts that we have? If they fail, there's no one else that we can contact?
We did from top down. The elections director for the Secretary of State's office, the assistant director, and our liaison. So,
Can we censure them?
I mean, I know that they have a ton of employees, it's just mind boggling that they won't.
closed today or not, I mean, normally we receive a lot of like emails throughout the day, and the only email that I've received today has been from Michael Barnes. And it's for the 2024 PPP election, the map of that.
He's in Cobb County anyway.
Right,
isn't he?
but still, I'm saying as part of the division.
Right,
Normally, we would receive like communications from them. I'm not sure if they're off or if they're attending to other counties that might have bigger issues than what we have or what.
Maybe we need
Yeah.
to find out if there are other people, somehow find out, because we have to have some kind of communication.
Yes.
yeah, like Hank said, I know that I'm pretty confident that it will not change the outcome of the results, but I also believe everyone should have had the chance to cast their vote. Period. So that's,
Just to be clear then, for those that might not be familiar with the numbers, what is the number of ballots that were affected by this, the address error? Our 35 or 36.
Oh,
The difference after what we've accepted,
I'm so sorry, the issue we're talking about with the ballots, that Secretary of State, with the problem, the potential for them having received some ballots that got, are we talking about something that could be decisive? With
it would be the
number?
number of how many we,
it might be now around 30.
I got you. So then my next question would be, were there any contests on the ballot that were within 30 votes? With 30 votes, if they all were in the losing candidate's
No,
favor? Okay, so again, that makes me feel better that it's not for this election, but more systemic for the next.
the total number issued, do you remember that? Because we can do the math, so we've received how many?
220.
221.
So 221 is how many we issued.
Yes.
And- Yeah, I know.
Just to make sure, just to be clear, yeah.
And we've received what, the 189 plus 2 more, or 3 more. Adam's gonna do the math. for us.
Historically, we only receive about 80% of our ballots.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
So
okay,
then to be crystal clear, if every single one of the ones that's outstanding were to be in favor of the second place candidate, it would not change the outcome of this election. So that's, yeah.
Ms. Tamro, did you have anything to add on that topic?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, all right. So do you have printed copies of that unofficial summary, or do we need to go into a recess to tabulate?
Official summary? We need that?
Not necessarily, but, okay. So you'll print a new report after they
We'll
put
put
those
the
through.
official.
Right,
The
okay,
official, yes.
official, yeah.
Yes,
So I believe at this point, we take a recess.
yes.
We always underestimate this, but less than 45 minutes.
15 minutes?
Come back at 5:30 or
Mm-mm.
5:15.
Come back like 5 o'clock, 5:05.
I gotta run reports, so it could be a minute. I have
Let's
to,
just do 5:30.
because it just,
If we're early,
5:15.
5:15, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are we,
All right.
we placing bets here now? Anybody else, 5:20? Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn, or, excuse me, Chair will entertain a motion
Recess.
to recess. Thank you, I blanked on the word. Until 5:15 PM.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Calling the meeting back to order. Next item on the agenda is the certification. Before that, I think the director had something she wanted to mention, and then we'll look at the election summary report and go from there.
Yes. So, during the recess, I made contact with the Secretary of State's office, and they have received a total of 5 ballots. 2 were received after Election Day, and 3 were received today. So there's 5 ballots. And then 21-2-386 A1F speaks on absentee ballots as they are returned. And it says that absentee ballots returned to the board or absentee ballot clerk after the closing of the polls on the day of the primary election shall be safely kept unopened by the board or absentee ballot clerk and then transferred to the appropriate clerk for storage for the period of time required for the preservation of ballots used at the primary or election, and shall then, without being opened, be destroyed in like manner as the used ballots of the primary or election. So that's the code section that relates to ballots received after November 7th.
Now, when they say received, they're talking about received where?
By the office.
By the office.
Yes.
By the office.
But does it say that? Because the post office receives things also.
It just says that return to the board or the absentee ballot clerk after the closing of the polls on the day of the primary.
Attorney Hines, do you have anything to add?
No, I think
Could
that's,
you add?
I think it's pretty
thoughts?
clear, yeah,
Your
that,
thoughts?
yeah, that only, they have to be, if they have to make it to the board by the close of the actual election, on the election day. And now I know, of course, as we talked about previously, there's the exception for the Uva Cava, and just the legislature made an exception for those, largely because those folks are probably overseas, but
Yeah, isn't that a federal statute anyway for that?
yeah, I haven't looked at it personally to say where it is, but it would not surprise me really that it's federal.
Yeah, I have the same issue that I did last week, which is here it really doesn't matter, and I just hope this doesn't come up later on. I think that since it's so clear in the code, it's okay, I guess, but I really don't know when the post office received it. They may have received it, but sometimes things hang around at the post office.
Just
for a
like that
couple of
one,
weeks.
the Bogart one.
Yeah.
That we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that does trouble me, but that's why, since it's so specific in the code, doesn't matter what I think. If they had a choice to vote on it, I would vote for it. We delay the certification till we get them tomorrow and do it. But since it's so clear that we receive it after the Tuesday,
Well, I'm willing to entertain that motion. Whether it passes or not, it's another story.
well, how can I or anyone offer it because it goes against the code? What's the
Make any
point of?
motion- You can make any motion you want.
Yeah, but then even let's say it passes, I'm not comfortable saying something that is so clearly written, unless the attorney said, well, it's up to you to decide then.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm hearing here.
I think it should say received
Yeah, receive.
at or in hand from the, sorry.
Well, you have to understand too, that the post office is not the Board of Elections office.
There you go.
That's the key point for me.
Yeah,
And that's what the
exactly.
statute says, right? It has to be received in the Board of Elections office.
Yeah,
Probably got mail from 90, when they moved over on Olympic Drive, they probably got some mail dated 1990 up on some of those machines that they ever moved.
Isn't there, in one of the codes that it says when people bring their ballot into the Board of Elections, that they are to hand it to the clerk?
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty specific about what we do, where we do, and how we do things.
Yes.
considering lawyer language.
I suspect whoever or whenever the code was written, they hadn't thought about this situation. But, until they change it, I would not feel comfortable voting on it.
Recognize that.
Thank you. I am thankful that we got to hear back from the Secretary of State's office. I understand this came from their council. They spoke to us during the recess. This is good to know. I definitely share the concern that there were votes that ended up not being able to be counted. I'm thankful that the numbers show that it could not have swung changed the outcome of one of the contests. But I'm glad to know that we were on top of it. We know what caused it. The concern that I was going to point out, I think will be taken care of because this section seems to help ensure that those voters will receive credit for having voted. It occurred to me during the recess that if I were a voter who otherwise was going to be on the inactive list or removed from the voting list, if this had been my one last time to get on to become reactivated, at least it'll be taken care of. That we'll receive them. We'll say this person voted. We won't open the ballot per the code, but that person will receive credit for having voted. Is that right?
It's the application process that gives them the credit of activity.
Even better. I did. Good. Okay. So yeah, I'm thankful this worked out this way and it was not something that could have decided one of the outcomes of the elections.
Anybody else? Okay.
Well, I just hope that next year we don't have any results which are tied and 2 or 3 votes show up. That can create a problem.
Yeah, and I hope the legislature can change the law that says must be in the office, must be postmarked, must be
Yeah,
whatever else they
exactly.
decided to be, not just received, because that's
Well, it
open
says
too.
received by the board, right? Yeah, it is received. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on.
Yeah.
In protest, I'll move on. Okay, in front of us, we have our election summary report. Director, in the past, you've had me read each contest out. Shall we do that now?
Yes,
Okay. And which columns shall we read out? All or?
you would read, yes, for mayor and then the candidates and their total votes, then city council.
Okay. So we will start with Mayor of Winterville. Todd Farrell received 159 votes on election day, 72 advance, 0 absentee by mail, and 0 provisional for a total of 231. That is the only candidate, so that is the winner of that race.
And you just have to do the total. You don't have to break it down.
Next race is the City Council Winterville, and that's the top 2 candidates. So Diane Green received 93 votes. Melissa Metzger received 199. Jonathan Mosley received 129. Kenneth Tweedle, 80 votes for a total of 501. The top 2 vote getters were Melissa Metzger and Jonathan Mosley. The next race is Special City Council Winterville. And there was one candidate, Tina Mills, receiving 233 votes. Unopposed, that is the winner of that contest. The next race was Superior Clerk or Special Clerk. This is written really weird. I'll just say it in English instead. Clerk of Superior Court for Clarke County. The first candidate was Andrew Griffith, receiving 2,992 votes. The second candidate was Eliza Zarate, receiving 5,425 votes. Total votes cast was 8,417. Eliza Zarate was the winner. That concludes that. So the chair will entertain a motion to accept the results and certify the election. Motion, Ms. Till.
Second.
Second, Mr. Shirley. All those in favor? Say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, the election is certified. Do you, Director, want us to sign on these lines and you're gonna sign the supervisor line or?
You know what, I gave you that, but I didn't. To see what
Why
that,
you said
that,
to, for
portion said, yes.
the chair.
So yes, you would sign there, we, the board, yes. New form.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
I'll
that,
sign at the bottom, yes.
that form looks different than the
Yes.
ones in the past. Okay. Since we will be joining each other tomorrow, we'll move on. And the next item on the agenda are announcements. We have a meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, November 14th at 4:30 PM at 120 West Doherty Street. That's the planning building. And then we have our regular meeting on Tuesday, December 5th. Location to be determined.
That's an error, I'm sorry. Have we since determined what's the location?
Why do we, it's here,
I'm sorry.
the board meeting,
Tomorrow?
December 5th.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, because we moved it.
Right?
At the planning building?
Yeah, I remember I asked you.
I have to go. Okay. I should probably check.
Well, let's clarify for tomorrow's meeting and we'll give the right answer tomorrow. How about that? Okay. Okay, so final announcement is Tuesday, January 9th is our regular meeting for January. Okay. Planning auditorium, which is, we'll clarify tomorrow. All right, next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Chair will entertain a motion. Do we have a second? Motion, Ms. Bambo, second, Ms. Tell. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, meeting is adjourned. Well, I printed because my signature is illegible.